I know you feel it, the burning in your spirit, welling deep inside. You got a beast inside. I know it's hard to tame it, it's harder to explain it. Can't even get a picture, no matter how you frame it. There's so much pressure with all these external stresses, and definitely try to test you. Gotta push them through the feeling, even though your mind is reeling. The power's deep inside and leads you if you were willing. Got the power. Can you feel the power? This is the hour to release your power. Got the power. Can you feel the power? This is the hour to release your power. Got the power. Can you feel the power? This is the hour to release your power. Got the power. Can you feel the power? This is the hour to release your power.
I might want to take the mute off. See, I'm taking Power Shut Up way too seriously. Welcome to another episode of the Power Shut Up podcast. We're excited to actually kick off the month of March. So many of you know, because I've been doing this for a while, that I celebrate any and everything, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. But it's Women's History Month. So, of course, we are going to celebrate Women's History Month. We have some wonderful guests that are joining us. We're going to talk about an array of things. Power Shut Up is definitely on the list, but we're going to talk about some history with women. We're also going to talk about some things regarding men. So men can celebrate us during Women's Month, and we can actually give them some celebration when June comes around. So y'all know we spread it all over the place. But before we get started, I wanted to say happy birthday to those who are celebrating a birthday. You know, I'm about the birthdays, and April is coming up. So y'all know what happens over here in the month of April. We just turn up. We have a good time because that's my month. That's my month. It's a lot of people in my family's month, so we stay busy. I also wanted to say, because I am one of those mushy gushy kind of people, happy anniversary to all those who are celebrating anniversaries. I'm all about love all the time, every day, but congratulations and happy anniversary to those celebrating love. And I also wanted to say congratulations to any of you who are, you know, bought a new home, starting a new class, opened a new business, whatever it is, you know, got up this morning. That's a reason to celebrate. But congratulations on everything that you're doing. Keep going. Don't let nobody stop you. And that's how we start off the Power Shut Up podcast, giving love to all those who are viewing. Take a minute real quick. Don't go nowhere, but just share this with your family and your friends, because I think you're going to enjoy the guests who are on here tonight. And I wanted to welcome them into the room so you can meet them. I can give you a little background about how I know them and why they're here today. But before we get started, I did want to give a little history about Women's History Month, because I learned out there that some people didn't even know it was Women's History Month. And it's Women's History Month every March. So for those who didn't know, I want to catch you up. So going forward, you're going to know we actually celebrated love last month, where we talked about self-care, self-love, community love. We even talked about, for those who didn't know, that February 13th is actually Black Love Day. Some people didn't know that, but it's a thing. And I've been celebrating it for a long time by myself. I'm driving my husband crazy with it because he's like, whatever. Thank you, Shelly, for joining in. But we tried to teach you something or share something with you that maybe you didn't know before you came with us. So that's part of our goal. But let me give you a little history on Women's History Month. I don't know if you all realize, but back in 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. The U.S. Congress followed suit the next year, passing a resolution establishing a national celebration. And then 6 years later, the National Women's History Project successfully petitioned Congress to expand the event to the entire month of March. So the National Women's History Alliance designates a yearly theme for Women's History Month. And for 2024, the theme is, and I'm sure you all will recognize this theme, but the theme is women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion. And this theme recognizes women who understand the need to eliminate bias and discrimination from individuals' lives and institutions. And I did want to remind you all that tomorrow, which is March 8th, is actually Women's International Day. So we do a lot of celebrating, but why not? Throughout the show, we're going to share some quotes from some women, and I think Cherie will probably pop them up on the screen. But I thought they were really good quotes to kind of hold on to. So the next time you hear it after tonight, it'll ring a bell or that flag will go up. But they're really powerful. So I wanted to share those with you. And in addition to that, I think you all see the blue ribbon that I'm wearing. This blue ribbon is in honor of my grandson. My very first grandson, Khalil, was born back on March 5th, 2010. And he was only here for a short 3 weeks. But his impact on our lives was forever. So I think maybe 2 years after we lost Khalil, we decided that from March 5th to March 26th, for the 3 weeks that he was here with us, we wear a ribbon just in honor of him. And I actually wanted to take this moment to give a shout out to my daughter, because I saw her as the young woman that she's grown into be in those moments, because it took extra strength to get through that time. And I couldn't do it because I had never experienced this before. So special shout out to my daughter, Ashley. You are doing a wonderful job. We also have another grandson who has our rainbow baby who came. So you all also know me as Gigi for some of you. I absolutely love Camden. And Camden is my heart. He actually gets all the yeses and everybody else gets no's. But, I just wanted to say shout out to my daughter. You're doing an amazing job. And I am proud of the woman that you have become. So I don't even know if she's tuned in, but I told her that I would shout her out because she's probably a busy lady. You know how these young people are. They just busy. But I wanted to introduce our guests and find out, what they got going on. So tonight we have Neville Barber with us. I'll tell you a little bit about where I met Neville. And we also have Sharon Parker, aka Civil Rights Baby. So you all have seen Sharon here before. She loves history. She could probably go all night long and talk about history. So it was perfect that we have her on the show. But I did want to start off with Neville. Neville, and I met him on TikTok. And I'm going to fuss at you all real quick because I'm over there on TikTok and I don't see y'all over there. Y'all need to come on over there, like the Power Shut Up page and my page. I'm new to TikTok, maybe since last April. I've only been on for a year, but I've ran into Neville in different lives within TikTok, and I really like the way that he shares information. For some of you all that hang over there, TikTok can be a little challenging at times, but I love his name is Middle, and I'll get you to tell him your name on TikTok, but it's Middle Road Logic, which makes perfect sense because he is usually that level-headed voice in the room. And he actually shared that he's working on a book project. So I wanted to have Neville come on and share with us a little bit about what's going on with your book project and just some of the things that you like to talk about to empower, I think, young men and young men and older men as well. But talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, just as well too. As you said, we met on TikTok, and I tend to listen to a lot of people, and in listening to them, I found that the same issues we have, quote unquote, today, we had them 30 years ago. There's nothing new, right? And we repeat the cycles. And what's happening is that I think that we're lacking guidance. When I talk about we, the collective, we as men. And we hear all these terms where they're very, very superficial, where someone will say, hey, a real man, and they never describe what a real man is. And so for me, I took the opportunity to say, you know what, here's the deal. Each of us come to the table a full-grown adult. You are who you are based upon your past experiences and what you've taken from them, whatever they have been. And since we need to, in my estimation, get down to quote unquote the specifics of how you became who and what you are, that's the purpose of the book. And so, in listening to people, I found that if you ask these individuals, well, you know, what makes you say what you just said? They can all point to something negative, every one of them. And I said, we need to be conscious of giving our children what I call positive defining moments. And even when you have a negative moment in a child's life, you must explain what took place. If you don't, they're going to use child logic and carry that into their adulthood. So that was the driving force behind the book. Now, I had that in mind a long time ago as well, too, so that we're clear. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to get across. And in the book project, it's about my life, what I went through, what I saw, how I interpreted what I saw, which made me who and what I am today.
I love it. Actually, that ties right into history. And I do think that sometimes people need to understand somebody's journey. And so it helps them to believe that, oh, I can do this too. Because a lot of times when you talk about somebody who's, you know, way out there, untouchable, they're like, yeah, right, whatever, you know, that doesn't mean anything to them. But when you're able to tell them your story, I mean, I like the fact that when you shared what the book was about, I saw something that you posted and I thought it was really cool to be reaching young men, because I think we don't have enough books and or people or men that are out there reaching these young people. I even saw a post that I think that where you posted, and there was a video where a young man was teaching some young people young boys how to, I think, change the oil on the car or something like that. And I was like, we need to go back to those days, because, you know, nowadays it's like they don't know how to do anything. and when you think about it, and, you know, and my husband is old school, so he's one of those that we always say he can fix anything. He said, stop telling people that. But it's a blessing, because I run into people who are like, oh yeah, that's not my story at home. I need to call somebody to fix it. So we've kind of gotten away from that. So I like that that's what you're doing, is pulling it back into letting these young men know, you know, how to do some of these things, because when they get out there in life, they're going to need to know, and everybody's not so willing to help once you get older. So I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to talk more about that. I wanted to kind of shift over to Sharon. And Sharon, tell them a little bit about what you do and why this was perfect, because history is your jam.
Well, I tell you, I'm just loving everything, the power of shut up. And I came on here ready tonight to just show off big and bad, because the power of shut up means so much on so many levels. But to piggyback on what Neville was saying, he went 30 years. I want to say 60 years. You know, the same issues that we were facing back 60 years ago during the civil rights era and everything, the same issues we were facing back in the Great Depression when my mom was born back in 1929. I mean, it goes way back. So it's so deep, you can't even honestly break it down anymore, because so many people have gotten distracted and everything on so many different levels, and they just going with the flow. And what I mean going with the flow is like the first thing that comes to mind is what people say. And that's why this show is so important, because you got to be able to think, you got to be able to listen, you got to be able to really, really articulate yourself where someone who's listening to you can really get value, even as you're growing yourself. So I'm just glad that I'm a civil rights baby. And the reason why I'm glad, because I was forced to shut up when I was born. My mom and my dad did not play around. Born in the 60s, you don't get to say a word. You better not say a word. So I was born in an era where only thing I could do was just, you know, look around and observe. And you know me enough, Lisa, to know that, you know, I've been on a mission. You know, I've been on a mission for decades now, but for the last, at least, I would say 16 years, I've been on a mission to inspire our next generations. I've been on a mission to inspire our professionals, non-professionals, to remember the history. Mm-hmm. You know, remember that history will repeat itself. And if you don't have the intellect or the intel to understand how it's repeating itself, you're going to easily be a victim of these ills of the world. So I haven't been shutting up. I've been, using high tech. I've been using high touch. I've been using social media, conferences, my book. It's like, people love you, but wake up.
That's right.
Because you're losing. You're losing legacy. And it's not about the titles. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's about the next generation. And if we're losing our next generation, what do we have?
That's right. That's right. And that's why I appreciate what you all do and many who come on the show, because that's what this is about. I was explaining before. We had a whole show before the show, y'all. Y'all just need to know that. But I was kind of explaining that anything that enlightens or empowers or inspires others, that's my mission. It always has been, whether it's my online magazine or the shows that I've had prior to this. That's always my mission. I want you to learn something. I want to learn something. Every time I have guests on here, I take notes too. There's always something to learn from someone else or do better or change. So I think a lot of people are closed to that. So part of the Power Shut Up is being able to listen so that you can take in all those nuggets that people have to offer. So it's a two-way street. And I try to, really kind of push people to understand that it's not over with once you say it. It also has to land somewhere. So if nobody's listening or nobody understands, like, what's the point? What are you speaking for if you're not willing to make sure that people understand what you're talking about? And that's where the Power Shut Up comes in. And no matter what you're doing, like never with the book or speaking to the young men or sharing when you're talking to these youth about history, your words are just important. They're powerful, they're important. And these young people are not who we were when we were their age. So we have to shift our communication, our style. So although some of the subject matter is the same, we have to be creative sometimes on how we, talk to them, let alone our spouses and friends and everything else. So yes, the power of communication is so important. I want to go to a commercial break real quick, but before we do that, I wanted to share, I have maybe 4 quotes that we're going to share throughout the show in honor of Women's History Month. So I wanted to maybe pop up one for you all to kind of put in your pocket. And this one is, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And Shirley Chisholm said that. And what I thought was really kind of special about this is that we hear this bring a seat to the table conversation, especially on TikTok. Never, I know you've heard that even recently. And I don't think these young people know that that's not anything new. This was said back in, way back. Shirley Chisholm, come on now. So it's not anything new, as you all were talking about. It's circled back around. So, and if we started to learn our history, we would realize that a lot of things that we say now came from somewhere long before us. I did want to shout out Shelly, Special, Charles. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let's take a commercial break, and we'll be right back and continue the conversation. So hold tight. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. So for you all that aren't aware of TikTok, Special Chosen One, I think she's in the chat as well. She's having a talent show. So here's an opportunity to show your talent, show us what you're working with. So please get in touch with us over there on TikTok. It's live on TikTok, March 22nd. If you have any questions, just reach out to the contacts. But we're looking for comedy, musicians, singing, spoken word, and more. So please, come show us your talent. I think we don't do enough of that as well. There are a lot of talented people out here. And here's an opportunity to come and share your gifts. I'm all about sharing gifts and emptying that pot. So he didn't give it to you for you to walk around with it. He gave it to you so you can give it to others. So let it go. Shelly said there's nothing new under the sun. Look, this is what I'm talking about. The things that we're talking about and have talked about on this show before, they're really not new. I wish younger people would come into the room and realize, how do they know that? Because I know that's what they're saying half the time. Like, they don't understand what we're talking about. What we do, we understand. We don't understand everything because there's always something new with a new generation, with the next generation, right? But we might know a little something. I'm just saying, if you just listen to us for a minute. But I wanted to circle back around to Neville and tell us what made you decide, because I know reaching our young men is a challenge, especially nowadays to me. But what made you decide that? For one, that's what you wanted to do, and to also share your life in the form of a book, because that's a huge step.
Okay. One of the things that really inspired me was this. I talk to young men all the time, and I find that, to your point earlier, where they think that somehow we don't know something because we're quote unquote in their minds older. Life says eat, sleep, seek shelter. I don't care who you are, you must do those things. So that has not changed. What has changed is the methodology that we use to do those things. So that being said, what are the problems that we're having that we need to quote unquote overcome? And they were the same. The same issues I had when I was 20, the guy today has when he's 20. It's the same doggone issue. So how did I overcome that issue? What helped me not fall into the pitfall of obstacles all along the way? So I thought it was important that I basically share what I did, how I saw life, and make it clear that, hey, listen, though we may have obstacles, you have challenges, I get that. But if you know they're coming, you don't really going to have to fall prey to it. But more importantly, as you said before, the power of shut up and listening to people. Mm-hmm. You listen to a person who's in front of you, give them 20 minutes, they'll give you their life story. Oh, they will. So now I can make a discernment and figure out, are you an ally or an enemy? Mm-hmm. I'm just going to listen to you. I'm going to watch you. And if I watch you long enough, I know what you're going to do next. If I can anticipate your next move, I shall not be a victim to you. I can't be. And so it's just a way of thinking about situations and saying, hey, listen, for you young guys, I know there's challenges out here. I'm clear on that. But here's the deal. Despite those challenges, take that challenge, that bad situation, learn from it, move forward. And I'm going to show you that coming from where I come from. I'm not going to say, well, if I can do it, so can everyone. That's not really the truth. But I'm going to tell you this here. You're not alone in your struggle.
Right.
You're not the only one. Don't believe that the world began at your date of birth. We were here long before that. And that's
my gosh, that's a big one. Because the way you said it just kind of hit me. It didn't start the day you were born, because I think a lot of people, old and young, think that, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that hit me. Like, we really do we come in and think, oh, this is where it all began. No, there were people here long before you. So, I love that. And actually the message that you're sharing can go for young ladies as well.
Yes.
And not only that, for grown folk, okay? Because sometimes we need refreshers. I think sometimes our egos get in the way, so we think we already been there, done that. You can't teach me nothing, but I learn something new every day. And so that's part of how even when I'm thinking about guests that are coming on the show, I think about people who can pour into others, in a way because, and this is part of the Power Shut Up, in a way that somebody can receive the message. Because there's a lot of people out here that have good information, but it's delivery. It's a thought process you have to go through. You have to deliver it a certain way, and everybody won't get it. But for those who are willing to just take that moment, 20 minutes. I say just take a minute to think about, before you even say anything out your mouth, just take 1 minute to think about, why am I saying this? What am I going to get out of this? If you take a couple of minutes, you might choose, and I'm suggesting that, and this is, I'm speaking from experience. There were times when I started to do that I decided not to say it at all. And it blessed me in so many ways that I was like, I got to tell everybody about this, because they're not going to believe that Lisa is telling people to shut up. Okay. But it works. It absolutely works. So Sharon, and I know dealing with the youth, especially talking about history, that's a hard journey. Because the listening part is key. You got to get people that are willing to sit down long enough for you to share, because there's when I don't want to know anything about what grandma did, or but it's so much power in it. And it's kind of where Sharon and I met, was my very first opportunity to speak in front of people. And she had Fannie Lou Hamer was who I did my presentation on, and connected it to my life. And, because I thought people don't even know where I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, but you hear it all the time. And so it was kind of a lesson for me, but that was when I was able to open up and share with others. And Sharon was already on her mission from DC. Neville said he lived in DC for a while. She shared some history on how it was built, and where, who, what, when, where. And I was amazed, because I grew up here. I was born and raised in DC. I moved off to Atlanta, but I was trying to get back. I love home, but I didn't know all of that history, even living here. I just knew I was tired of going to a museum, because that's what we did every year on a field trip. But now I'm like, there's so much in that experience that I'm so glad that we went to those museums. People I think people don't realize how powerful, and the new museums they have are. So Sharon, tell us a little bit about, I know women's history is a big thing, but tell us a little bit about what you have going on. I know you have a book, but history is your jam, whether it's Rosa, whether it's, American Mothers Inc. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So let me just say that for the audience, that you're looking at a country girl who comes from the South, who was an introvert, who did not have a voice, who didn't have a clue about how to connect and collaborate with people, didn't care to, because I was so busy just doing me, but tapped into my passion, which was history. I would say about a good, 15, 16 years ago. And then I just started strategizing, taking lessons, just stepping out there, understanding that I did not have the tools, I did not have the voice, I did not have the technique on how I was going to build relationships. I just started putting one foot in front of the other and just saying, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to host a conference. I'm going to invite, women out that I've never, ever met before. I'm going to have them share their story. At the time we did it, it was 2013 at the LaFont Plaza Hotel, where the Benjamin Banneker Park is located. And it was the time that I had a conference called the Unconditional Love Retreat. And that message, the unconditional love, just resonated with powerful women who were all in the community. And I sent them invites. Some people that I met in history say, you may want to invite that person. You may want to invite that person. And believe me, we had some powerhouses come out. Dr. Barbara Reynolds, who wrote the book about Coretta Scott King, Pastor Wilson's wife, co-pastor Wilson from Union Temple Baptist Church, Lisa Dale Washington, Gail Crowder. Just so many women in the entrepreneurship that was, some were just getting started, some were already established, but they came out and they came from around the country, and they told their unconditional love, story. So what did that do for me? That told me that no matter how much I was doubting myself, how much someone else said that, hey, you're not going to do this, you should do it this way, you should do it that way, I just did it, and to me it was a major success. So that inspired me to inspire the next generation coming behind me to do the same thing. Don't listen to those naysayers that says that you can't make something happen. You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't be an historian. You can't be in STEM. You can't learn these tools and techniques. If you have a passion, if something resonates within you, just go and do it. So, Lisa, when you talked about the kids, one thing that helped me in my journey to be a professional, and you know this about me, is project management.
Mm-hmm.
Project management helped me find my voice. It helped me slow my brain down, plan things, put it in perspective, and work in a team environment. It helped me understand that you got those introverts, you got those extroverts, and some of those extroverts, as an introvert, you can't even deal with them, but you got to learn to work with them. So I was able to do that. So I've been doing that on every platform that I've been working on over the last 15 years, using project management to help other organizations, other youth, other professionals, do what I love, which is to work for the next generation, but sharing your story. So what I'm doing right now, I'm going to the United Nations next week, and I'll be going for a week. And I'm going to be actually speaking on a platform about global mom power. Can you imagine an introvert being on a forum speaking on global, mom power? I can't imagine it, but I've worked enough with different groups to say, hey, you can trust me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do the research. I'm going to be professional. I'm going to have high tech and high touch. And no matter what platform I serve on, you can take it to the bank. You're going to benefit from it, and it's going to be I'm going to be of value to you, and I'm going to show you how I do it. That's what I want our professionals to do for our next generation. That's what I want our next generation to do. Show people by example how God gifts and skills in you will benefit them.
Which is exactly what Neville actually explained that before. And you all haven't even talked with each other, but and this happens every time when I collectively or collaborate with other people, but collectively put people together and they don't know each other. They've never, kind of worked together, but somehow you'll see the alignment. It just kind of happens, which reminds me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because that's how it's supposed to feel. It's supposed to come naturally. It's supposed to just kind of blend in, and that's what you all are doing with the projects that you're working on. And I would say with history, it's been amazing. You said 2013, and I thought, whoa, I'm getting up there. But the people that we have been able to collaborate with, it's been amazing. Sharon actually has worked with Melba Moore attended one of her events. She's been able to connect with some wonderful people who are from our history that are still active, trying to get a message out, and they're connecting with people. I say, people like us who are still out here working, and haven't gotten there, but they're collectively working with us. So we've been exposed to some wonderful people of our history from a lot of Sharon's events, the things that she's doing. And Neville, I'm sure and know that what you're doing with your book project is going to reach many. And I'm always trying to be in the space of people who are trying to help others to grow. There's so many things that challenge us outside of that. So I'm always pleased when someone is pushing against that, because it's ugly out there. And I can't admit for the millennials and the young people that they're dealing with some things that have a different edge to them that we might not have had to deal with before. I mean, I thought about someone saying before, our history was, I know for me, when the lights came on, you went in the house. So there were certain things that we weren't, we just weren't privy to. We didn't have access to. The TV was another thing. We didn't have access to social media and things like that. So I know that adds another layer for them. And I'm always excited when we that didn't we're not in this generation, but we're still willing to, mix and mingle and help. So Neville, I wanted to ask you, do you have any information on when you're thinking about releasing this book, or you just getting started?
Oh no, I started a while back here. I'm rewriting one chapter, so
Okay.
hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days it'll be ready to roll.
Oh, wow.
published.
Okay.
So that's a 2 thumbs up thing. And I just want to point something out, as Sharon said earlier, about how our youth and how they see things, and how, you know, we have the power to change and mold our future, so to speak. I'm really big on that. I tell people this all the time on TikTok. At my job, I literally seek out young Black males on purpose to say, listen, on Thursday, 1 p.m., we're going to lunch, and here is the agenda. I'm not going to talk about LeBron James. I'm not going to talk about Michael Jordan. I don't care about them. What I'm concerned with is this here, where you are in your career and where you're going, because it's a long game we have to play. We did not get in this problem overnight, as she was pointing out. This has been going on for decades, right? So it's going to take us a minute to get out of it, but we got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting with you, to these individuals, starting with you here right now, because in 20 years, I'm going to call you. And when I call you, I don't want to hear about the admin room. I don't want to hear about maintenance and custodians. I don't hear about anything about that. What I want to hear is this here. I have a young man with a degree who's a qualified individual. Hire him. That's it. There's nothing stopping us from having our own old boy network, but it begins when you're young boys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shelly actually said, thank you, Neville, also for reaching out, especially to our young men. She has 3 sons, 3 godsons. And I think that that's, you know, even women are out here searching for men who can, you know, speak with their young men. Because I know that was important. There was one event that I held for a client of mine for my publishing company, and he was doing some research because he was also reaching out to men and fathers. And so we held an event, and for you all that are in the DC area, you know, Prince DeJour, who is still on 102.3, is a good friend of ours, and he actually was host for that. And we had fathers, young men come out. I even had my coach from high school, who is like, you know, he's always been a part of my life because I was on the swim. Yes, I was on the swim team, y'all. I was. But he actually came out and spoke and really inspired. I even had my son. I was like, I am demanding that you be in the room. I know you are grown, but you will be here, because I've been dragging my kids along to anything that I do that will help them when they get older. And I think that we need to do more of that. When, you know, Neville, if you have your book signing, I think that, you know, we should all be coming together and supporting you in that effort. Sharon, when you're having your events, we need to get these young people, what you do, you bring them to the table. And we need to keep having these conversations, because they also need to know that we're on their side. Because a lot of times they see us, but they don't necessarily know we're on their side. So thank you all so much. We're going to actually have another commercial break, but I did want to encourage everyone to share this with your family and your friends. I know we share snippets on social media once the show is over, and you can find the full episode on YouTube and on the Power Shut Up page on Facebook. But come join in the conversation. I thank everybody. Jerome is here. Shelly, I see you. Thank you so much. Shelly and I are part of a mentoring group for young ladies. And, you know, when we have that mentoring group, I think a lot of times people are mentioning, do they have anything for young men? So Neville, what you're speaking to is definitely that era. We have had some mentoring groups for young men on the show. So anything I can do to network with what you're putting out and the things that you do, I feel like that's what I'm here for as well. But let's take another commercial break. And then we're going to come back and talk some more, because I am loving the conversation. Awesome. You're looking for a way to promote your business? DSM Media may be the company for you. Check us out. So for you all that don't know, we do commercials on the Power Shut Up podcast. When we were having luncheon with Lisa, Before we launched the Power Shut Up, we did commercials all the time. So there are opportunities for people to contact us, and we actually create commercials for the show to, advertise your products, your events, whatever you have going on. So please feel free to reach out to DSM Media. I think Shariba has the email that she can show for you all to hit us up, because you can have a commercial on the show. So we'll be running a few of these all month, but if you're interested, please reach out to us. We are interested in helping you to get the message out as well. So we also do background for podcasts such as this. So for those who want to get out here and do your thing, but you're not interested in the background hoopla and what's going on, we love to do that. So that's what we're here for. So please reach out if you're ever interested in having a voice out in this media world. So I wanted to actually tap into, because we're going to find out how we can connect with Neville and Sharon after the show, but I wanted to blend in the Power Shut Up a little bit more. We talked about some history and what you all are doing, but the reason I actually launched this Power Shut Up podcast was because I have a book that I launched back in 2019. It was actually the last day of my 50th birthday. Yes, everybody celebrates the first day, so they're like, what are you doing with the last day? Like, why? But I wanted to be different, okay, because we want to be different. And actually, I kind of wanted to, I started off at Disney World. So yes, I went to Disney World with my husband. We had no children with us, happily, and we enjoyed ourselves tremendously, and I got my ears. But the last day, I actually released the Power Shut Up book on a time of in Times Square on a billboard, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I fell in love with publishing. I've always been a writer since I was in elementary school, so I know that this is a gift. I'm in my lane. I wanted to just share a little bit about the Power Shut Up, and then bring the guests in to talk about maybe where you were challenged in the area of learning, when to be quiet and when to speak up. So to just share a little bit that we do have merch out there. It's been out there for a while. We also have a Power Shut Up symposium every year. I usually do it around my birthday because of when I launched the book back in 2019, but we may push it back because we're working on a full band that's going to be there in person. So we're hoping that people that we meet along the way are willing to come on into Maryland and hang with us. We talk about the Power Shut Up, and we get deep, we get real, and we have a great time. DJ, music, eating, and a great conversation with a lot of really cool speakers. So we have things like cups, Power Shut Up. We have t-shirts. So for you all who thought we didn't have any t-shirts and merch, we have some Power Shut Up t-shirts. We did tank tops as well. The men actually reached out to me and said, hey, I don't want to wear that, but do you have something for us? So we actually have two logos. And as you see, one of them is the circular one. We're going to be putting that on some t-shirts. The men were cool with that. We have another logo that you'll probably see in the background. I think the Power Shut Up the lady. So we have two. So we're working with you fellas. I always try to share with people the Power Shut Up. So if you ever see me out in the DMV area, if I'm traveling to Atlanta or whatever, I try to keep these things on me so that I can let you know how to reach out to us and meet these wonderful guests that come on the show. I'm a mug girl. I don't know if you all knew that, but the Power Shut Up mugs, we have everything over here. We stay busy, but we did have this little box, and it's a box where I have, so since we're talking about being quiet sometimes, I just put little messages on the box. Think before you speak. And I think right here it says it's time to burn those petty files, because sometimes we think we just gotta say it, right? So in this little box, what I share is I have some business cards in the box. I also share, and these will be things that we give away, because tonight we're actually going to give away some things. I love to do giveaways. We have some Power Shut Up stickers. We have pens, because I'm a writer. I love writing. Neville, you've been writing, so pens are important. For those who don't know, I have an online magazine, Dove Style Magazine. You can go straight to dovestylemagazine.org and check out the amazing articles and things that have been gathered over the years. I've had some amazing opportunities from having the magazine. I've had the opportunity to be in a couple of movies and things like that. So, this has been a wonderful journey. And I'm just getting started. But we have lanyards for those who need to keep track of their keys. Y'all know we're getting a little older, so we got to keep track of our keys. I also have a pen similar to my ribbon, but this is a little pen that's a power shut up with my logo on it. We have a little rubber jewelry. Okay, so you have a rubber jewelry that says a power shut up. We have all kinds of little goodies. And we also have, which is one of my favorite, a keychain. And it has my website on the back. So we have lots of little goodies that we give away, along with the book, The Power Shut Up. You can find the Power Shut Up book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I believe Walmart is still carrying it online. So please go check it out. We are talking about the Power Shut Up always. There's always something to talk about with words. But I wanted to kick in with my guests and ask. And Sharon, we're going to start with you. And share us a moment in life, history. Let's tie history into it, where you were challenged with how you use your voice, and you either made a mistake and now you see why it was important, or where you were able to help someone else through. So share us something like that.
Sure. In addition to my AKA civil rights baby, my childhood AKA was Sharon Lee.
On the run, right?
And the Sharon Lee on the run is a whole different story. But Sharon Lee, before I grew up, was a tomboy. And I would fight boys, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going to date her because she's going to beat me up." and the stories are still being told, even at the high school reunions. Telling Sir Charles that I'm still a fighter, but I'm not. But anyway, make a long story short, I am one of 12 siblings, third from the youngest, and all of my siblings have been fire signs. So all of them had a voice, and I could not find my voice to save my life when I was younger, so I just came out fighting. So I couldn't say anything. So unfortunately, being a tomboy when I was younger, you just didn't take no crap from nobody, no matter what. So it wasn't until I got into my professional career that I had to learn how to shut my mouth, no matter how much and how bad people piss me off. And believe me, it was a challenge. So I would say in a relationship, if you love someone and you want them to understand you, you want to understand them, you have to discipline yourself to be able to settle your mind, okay? Tame that tongue, as they would say, and just try to add value no matter how complicated the conversation may be. So my challenge was just settling my mind, taming my tongue, and I'm still working on it, don't get me wrong. But I'm way much better today than I was when I was a little bad old Sharon Lee.
Well, look, I'm gonna share a little side note. I was also a tomboy growing up. I love sports. We had the basketball court in the neighborhood was in my backyard. So I had to be on somebody's team if you're gonna play in my backyard. But I was definitely a tomboy, and but I didn't. And my mother was very open. She allowed us to share our thoughts. So I didn't feel challenged in that area, but I was also very quiet, and the power shut up was something that I went through where I was quiet. And then I felt like people who had a lot to say, even though I sometimes thought they were rather rude, I was like, well, they get all of the attention. So, I tried that way, and that wasn't that cute either. So I had to find a middle ground. And I shared with Neville that the power shut up for me came in regards to my marriage. But I wanted to kick this over to Neville, and you get the same question. And I shared with Neville that he shared on TikTok sometimes that he's been married for a long time. Congratulations to you on that. But I knew when he said that I know the power shut up on somebody's side, whether it's yours or the other side, has come into play. But Neville, share with us an example where you were challenged in the area of kind of not saying anything, and you felt like I should be able to talk to us about it.
Wow. Okay. To piggyback on what you said, I've been married for 41 years. Be 42 years in July. Got 3 children, and behind me you see their accolades. Those are their degrees on the back of the wall. Right. So it hasn't been an easy road. Let's state that. So, in terms of a situation where I had to learn how to be quiet, I'm gonna go back to an earlier time, and it's in the book as well too. Due to my upbringing, I was around quote unquote a lot of adults who had different mindsets. I'll just put it that way. And you don't talk around them. You're required to listen because they viewed you as what you were, a child. And then when I moved out of that situation into dealing with other children, I couldn't relate. But you can't tell a bunch of kids that you can't relate because they'll beat you up. They don't want to hear that. It's like, you old man, get out of here. But I was blessed with meeting an individual who, I was about 14 then, who sat me down and taught me to calm the voices. Even though you're not saying it out loud, it's in your head, you're talking just as well. You got to calm that voice too. And so he taught me how to calm that voice. So I learned early on, you can't just say what you want to say, even if it's not just blurting it out. And I took that into my adult life, my adulthood, whereby, like I said, 41 years, clearly, you have to understand that compromise is not a bad word. And sometimes just, all right, go on, do your thing. Ain't gonna hurt us. And again, for me, it boils down to, what are we trying to accomplish?
Right.
That's what's most important. And then, like I said before, you heard me say this earlier, if you have the better way of doing something, you lead it. There's no such thing here as the quote unquote gender roles. We don't operate that way. It's very simple. If you're better equipped, it's yours. That's it. I'm going to support you 100%. So that helped me. And I don't have this thing in the back of my head saying, hey, you're the man, you're in charge. Nope. Even if I think I know better, I know what my limitations are. And
Right.
So I'm clear with that. So I have to remember that, I'm not a dumb guy. I'm a pretty smart guy, but that does not mean I know everything.
Right.
So with that being said, accept the fact that that person knows more and just be quiet. Let it rock.
I love it.
And so that's, so I would say, and that's an ongoing thing that doesn't end.
Look, y'all both said that, and it's funny. And Sharon knows this. When I had the opportunity to go on, I think it was Channel 9, Great Day Washington, and the ladies were asking me when we were in the green room about your subject or you coming on was actually further down in the show, but we moved you up because they kept saying, oh, I need to hear this. Like, what's she talking about with the power shut up? And the first question, I think, when we actually went live was, so when we want to talk about it and he doesn't, what are we supposed to do? Because we're trying to resolve it or whatever. So I was like, this is perfect because I actually am a victim of this. But I mean, you all kind of spoke to in that I explained to them, look, this is not anything that I'm suggesting we will master. The power shut up is a work in progress all of the time. You won't get it right all the time, but I do recognize that when I started to do it, now I'm thinking before I'm saying certain things, or if I have not held it like I should have, I'm quick to recognize, Lisa, you could have done that better, and then I pull it back and then correct myself. And then I noticed with Neville, we say Neville, right? The way your tone is also very, calming. And I noticed that, especially with, men and women, your tone actually is a way of delivery as well. And I know we hear on, TikTok especially, don't tone police, don't this. And, and I recognize what rooms I should be in and what I should say, but tone does matter. And it's a good thing. It's not a policing. It's more of a checking. And when I say power shut up in any of these situations you have talked about, it's about self-check. I'm not actually talking about telling other people to shut up, which is, of course, the response I get when they see the book. Oh, I know who needs this book. They need to shut. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about learning to tell yourself to shut up. And if you go on my website, lisadovewashington.com, I actually give, if you sign up, you get 10 free tips on how to tame the tongue. And it really is just trying to help people to, catch yourself before you step out there and put your foot in your mouth, because words are permanent. Yes. And the one thing that I say about the power shut up is there is no guarantee that once you say what you wanted to say, because that's what you felt and you felt like you had the right, in the heat of the moment, in your anger, you might have felt some kind of way. But 20 minutes later, when you're over with it and it's done, you still said what you said. And there's no guarantee that that person is going to forgive or going to forget. And nobody wants to hear, oh, I didn't mean it. That was just how I felt at the moment. So you got to be careful because they're permanent. Words are permanent, whether they're written or you say them out of your mouth. There's so many people now that are hurt. Is still unhealed from things that people said to them a long time ago. So words matter. They really do. And we have to be better about how we use ours because we lead by example. So I wanted to actually, and Shariva, I think that we shared all of the commercials for this evening. Please let me know if I missed something. I did want to share a few quotes. We do a TikTok moment. So for those who actually love doing TikTok moments that are empowering and inspiring, and I love sharing the shine. So if anybody has an opportunity to share some good news or good information or good music, I try to incorporate that into the show just to share the love. Anything to get people, seen, heard, recognized, or just some good feelings to take you into the week. But let me show you. I have some giveaways real quick. We got 5 minutes. What we're going to do. And we might extend this into the Facebook page, but we have some giveaways. So I did a preview or a promo for a movie premiere. I went to the red carpet. It's a family faith-based movie. For those who are in the area, please go and check it out. But it was on March 2nd. So let's show a little commercial about what I experienced there and some information on how you can make the next viewing for this movie premiere. Let's check it out. Thank you so much, Shariva, for reminding me. That is the movie, My Private Line to God. It is a wonderful family movie. I absolutely enjoyed it. I laughed, I talked, I even did some rolling in my neck with some stuff. You will really enjoy this movie. I am really hoping and praying that this movie goes straight to the theaters. This team is Low J Productions. Mignon and her daughter Maya are an amazing production company. I've worked with them before on some other movie projects. And this one was delightful. I absolutely loved it. This young lady who actually the young girl in the movie, you definitely gonna see more of her and everybody else in this movie. She is doing some amazing things. I think as soon as she finished with the premiere, she was off to New York because she had some other things going on. So people are making moves here in the DMV and all over the world, and I'm here to share where I can. So there were some tickets that were donated for the preview, I think on March 16th. So we wanted to throw a couple of questions out there. So bear with us for a minute. Shariva, let's show, I think there are 3 other quotes that I wanted to show real quick and read. And then we're going to throw some questions out there and figure out how we can get them to answer those questions so that we can get those tickets to them. So my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some compassion, some humor, and some style was by Maya Angelou, who is one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. And I think there was another one that Shariva shared. Oh, you must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right. That's Rosa Parks. And I think it was Amelia. I think I missed that one earlier. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. So I wanted to share those real quick. Thank you all for tuning in. Neville, I want you to share with everyone where they can find you and stay connected with you so that they can get this book when it comes out.
Sure. Primarily, you can find. I'm actually on Facebook under my name, Neville Barber. There's 2 of us. There's Neville C. Barber. One is my son. So, but you can see the picture, so you know it's not me. because I think one has a dot after the C or not, but it's Neville C. Barber on Facebook. In TikTok world, I'm known as Middle Road Logic. I think they put the @ symbol as @Neville Barber 215. And the book, when it comes out, I'm going to publish on Amazon first. And the title of the book is called The Making of Men. And as you said earlier, it's not gender specific in terms of just how you make a man per se. It's about life lessons. So it doesn't matter who you are, male or female, makes no difference. If you apply the logic to it, you'll be fine. So I don't want to get the impression that it's just men, but my focus is young men, because I think that we don't have enough conversations with each other that say, hey, listen, get beyond you thinking I don't know something. Let me just get and tell you who I am.
That's
and
right.
from there we start the conversation. So again, Neville Barber on Facebook. Under TikTok, it's @Neville Barber 215, or most people see me, Middle Road Logic.
I love it. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Is it your first book?
Yes.
Congratulations. I always celebrate, especially people who are new to author world. Welcome and congratulations. And please stay in touch with us. We can bring you back to talk about your book once it's here, or if you want to bring some young men on and have some good conversations. The Power Shut Up podcast is here for that. So thank you. And Sharon, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes. Social media, Facebook is the preference. So just Sharon Parker on social media. I'm always wearing a little red dress to kind of show off a little bit, but I am over there. I did get over there on TikTok. So it's Love Rosa, ROASA on TikTok. And then on Instagram is Sharon/Leading Within. So that's geared around my book, True Synergy Work, Leading Within. And I just love, just connecting with the next generation, but most importantly, connecting new professionals to the next generation. So Lisa, thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to supporting you, and you too, Neville, with your project.
Definitely. I'll follow you, Neville. Please, let's follow each other, stay connected, continue to support. Thank you, Maritza, for joining us. Shelly, Special, everybody who's joined tonight, thank you so much. Please continue to share the live. What we'll do is, because we had such a great conversation, I shared a little bit about the movie premiere, but what I'll do is a separate post and share that again. And then we'll throw out some questions and give those tickets away to some people who would definitely, I am sure, enjoy the show. And I plan to go back and see it again. And soon enough, it'll be in other states and other places as well. I know it's in Maryland right now, but it's going to be amazing. So congratulations to them as well. So you all, I wanted to shout out Donnie B Got the Beats again for our theme song and our theme video from the beginning of he did the show. He did that and he did his thing and we're excited about it. And we're going to do our TikTok moment, and then we're going to say goodbye. So let's do our TikTok moment to take us into next week. A little bit about the food, the baby need a pass through that. Look, you got a light here too. You even got a gas here too. The telephone disconnect. Waiting for your next paycheck. Tell you what you ought to do. Tell you what you ought to do. Tell you what you ought to do. See you be true. So that was a repeat. Thank you, Shariva, for all you're doing behind the scenes. We appreciate you. And happy Women's Month, Women's History Month to all of the ladies, men too. And you all have a great week. We will see you next week. We have an amazing team coming, co-authors for a new book, Trust the Process. I am part of that book project. We have some more of those ladies coming to join us. And then the following week, We actually have Stacey Lattisaw Jackson now because she's married. She's going to come. She actually has a piece in my book. She is one of those people who took it to the Bible when it came to learning how to shut up. So I'm going to bring her on the show so we can talk about the Power Shut Up as well. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you, Neville and Sharon, for joining me on the Power Shut Up podcast. And we'll see you then. Have a good one.
Thank you.